touching on the top prop bets in the NBA today. All right, guys, so I wanted to start off this video with another bet in which will most likely change throughout the day. Heck, it might change right after this video is released or during this video. We got a very good number on DeMar DeRozan currently. At 25.5, the over and under would be set at -145. A lot of the sports books are actually giving him a projection of 26.5 points. So this is very much like 2 nights ago where we were getting Kawhi Leonard and also AD at 25.5 points, where the projection was really supposed to be 26.5, the prop point line. So if we look at that game as well, just to give it the full go with kind of breaking it down, the issue would potentially be the blowout risk. Okay, so anytime we have a big blowout risk like this, I don't mind the idea of chasing the first half points. This is a high over and under game as well. And so I could potentially see PrizePicks keeping this number out there to kind of, I don't want to say bait us into it, but potentially bait us into it, I guess. It is the correct move. So if we pull up the first half points, and he hasn't been over this in quite a while. If you watched yesterday's game or 2 nights ago's game, Zach LaVine was just going off. So DeMar was not needed in the first half. So it does look a little bit risky here, but we can see at 12.5 points, do the math, that's going to be 25 points. So we are getting kind of half a point baked in there in a game that's supposed to be a blowout. And if it's a blowout, you expect players like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan to be the players that are benefiting. And let's just pull up his props on DK Sportsbook. Yeah, -145. Okay, a lot of them have this number currently set at 26. Okay, DK Sportsbook has it set at 25.5. And so now this is a tool that I'm currently working on, but it'll show us here like DeMar DeRozan, okay? For his points prop, it's at -22, but that's at 26.17 across all the sports books. That's the averages there, whereas the PrizePicks has it set at 25. So not only are sportsbook favoring it at 26, but they're also favoring it at -122 odds. Now, the only issue that I have is I only have him projected to get 26.6. Still, that is going to be over 25 points. So in theory, DeMar being over 25.5 points is going to be the way to go, because that is going to be the best prop that we are currently getting. Look at the last game against the Spurs, who, they are an easier matchup. That game did stay close. It was a higher scoring game. Had a lot of free throws. That does always kind of worry me, but had 20 shot attempts, was able to score 33 DK points. And that was earlier on in the season, so can't take too much away from it. But all signs point to this prop bet being the correct move. And if it doesn't work out, like, this is one of those situations in which you're fine with it because you know it's the correct decision. The only thing that slightly has me worried is like Zach LaVine got really hot in the first half to the point where they didn't really need DeMar to score. That would be the only worry, is that like LaVine and Vooch get really hot and, they don't need him to score. There's a chance that all three of them could get the over. So another similar one to that, and it's not one that I like as much, but I just want to call it out because it is a very similar situation in which the prop line that we're currently getting on PrizePicks does not match kind of what the sports books are saying. Now, this is a little bit different, but if you were to combine their points and rebounds for Donovan Mitchell, which is different than this prop line, okay, the number would be set at 29.3 across all the sports books, okay? So a slight edge there. Okay, so DK Sportsbook is going to be a little bit lower than some of the other ones, and they had that one set at -123 collectively, and then the under odds are set at -6, so very low there. And he's currently projected to get 30.27. So there is both a slight edge in this prop for both the projection is higher, and then also across the other sports books, they are kind of saying it should be 29. Maybe. And they might just keep it at 28.5 because the average sportsbook line is currently 29.3. So we'll see. But this in theory is also a decent one as well. Now, the issue with Mitchell is that he has been struggling lately with points. Kind of a cold night shooting, didn't have a lot of shooting attempts. Or shot attempts. Kind of just seems like he's just going through one of those stretches. All right, so the next one is going to be Jordan Poole over points, rebounds, and assists. So if we were to look at Jordan Poole's per 36 numbers, he would smash this. Okay, he has the most minutes with Curry off the court. He averages 28 points per 36 with him off the court, only 3 rebounds, 2.9, and then 5.1 assists. Okay, so just with the points and rebounds, he should be able to get the over. Bake in assist as well, 5 assists, that is huge. So I'm very curious as to what fantasy point projection are we going to get with this number right here. Okay, because the average is almost a steal and no blocks. So it's not going to be that much higher, maybe 34.5. And he has some of the averages over that as well with him off the court, about 38 fantasy points per 36 with him off the court. And so he is currently projected to get 35 points, rebounds, and assists. Now, part of that is due to this very strong matchup against OKC, which are one of the worst defenses in the league. You know, it's a game in which, let's pull up the sportsbook odds, and just looking at DK real quick as well for prop line, they currently have this number set at 32.5. Now they're saying they're favoring the under, but they are saying that this number should be set at 32.5 instead of 31.5. So that is a big edge there as well. And looking at that game, it is projected to stay close, which is huge. Very nice. All right. Don't have to worry about the blowout risk, most likely then. A higher scoring game as well. So that adds up to it being a good prop bet as well. Now, what's the biggest worry with Jordan Poole? It's that he's a streaky player, and so are the Golden State Warriors. Typically, I don't love to attack the Golden State Warriors simply due to the fact that any one of them can go off. You got Andrew Wiggins still there. You got Klay Thompson still there. Draymond, depending on how he facilitates the game. Like, it isn't a lock and load. Dante DiVincenzo can go on and have a good game. Like, there is some risk in there because they really have, I mean, even with Curry gone, they still have 3 other studs that can go out and have a good night. It's not like I gave this example before the Dinwiddie trade. If Luka were out, we'd be loading up on Spencer Dinwiddie if the prop line was too low because he directly benefits. Whereas, sure, Jordan Poole does as well, but it wouldn't be shocking to see one of the other Golden State Warriors have a good night. On paper, though, this is a very phenomenal one. Obviously, people are going to be worried about the last 5 games. Guys, the last 5 games are under because Curry was playing. Now, he gets a good matchup. Minutes should be there. Like I said, most minutes with Steph Curry out the court by a huge margin. So in theory, he should be a really strong prop bet. And so what's weird is that they kind of have, you could do points and assists as well. Like, personally, I think that's a good bet as well. This is currently projected to be under as well. The sportsbook combines are saying that this should be 28.6 instead. So that is also a number we could bet as well. Like I said, averages 28 points per 36 and 5 assists. Now, the biggest issue with those per 36 numbers that we're getting in there is that Andrew Wiggins had been injured a lot during those games in which Curry was out, okay? So Wiggins has a very small sample size going into the per 36 numbers with Curry off the court. So that's where I'm saying, like, yes, on paper, the Poole bet is a very strong bet, but if it doesn't hit, I think it'd be because someone like Andrew Wiggins goes out and has a really good game. Klay's projection seems right, just as an FYI. So, and then the last one along this theme is going to be Kawhi Leonard over 30.5 points and assists. And if we pull it up on DK Sportsbook again here, we can see they currently had this set as a push at 31.5. So we are getting a 1 point bump for an edge or reduction in edge, which is a good thing. Currently projected to get 32.89 as well. So decently there. Just a good number across the board there. And now we're going to look at Al Horford over 2.5 assists. Now this on paper is already one that's, you know, just by looking at the snapshot here is one that's going to be an appealing prop bet. We can see out of the last 5 games, he's been over this number 4 times, which is huge. On the season is someone that does average over 2.5 assists at 2.6. Not big, but, you know, given a favorable matchup, you know, I do see him being able to facilitate and get, you know, 3 assists. Now we look at the last game against Detroit, only 2. Okay, game was kind of a blowout, only played 26 minutes. And so because of that, let's go ahead and look at the line. Okay, yeah, we do have the blowout risk there as well because the line is set at -11. So, you know, really at 7.5 points is when I start to worry about the blowout potential. So with that, it's not as much of a lock and load because we want those minutes. We want to have that full sample size in there. Now, if we look at DK Sportsbook, they have this number currently set at -130 to get over 2.5 assists, which, you know, is a good number. It's one of the better numbers that we're getting. So really, this is just a bet on this game not blowing out until the final rotations occur. So another one that's decently good today is going to be Donovan Mitchell over 3.5 rebounds. We can see not been really getting there. He had 8 against the Knicks, which, you know, it's the Knicks. Easier matchup. Memphis got it. And then the last 2 games before that, or before and after that, the Pacers 3 and Miami 3. So right there. If we look at the prop line, we can see -130. And that's going to be true across the board. They're all saying that it's going to be +100 to get the under, which is obviously favorable, and then -130 to get the over. So on paper, a pretty good bet that we're getting. So another prop that looks decent is going to be Jalen Green over 21.5 points. Now, he had been someone that had been injured prior to his last game against OKC. We can kind of see that by looking at the game log. Now, this play is pretty much predicated on the fact that KPJ is still out, obviously. And so with KPJ out, Jalen Green should be one of the players that benefits the most. Now, the issue that we are having here is we don't have a good indication of what's going to occur tonight, okay? And I say that because he was coming back from an injury, a bruised knee, I believe is what it was, or a bruised calf. He only had 22 minutes in the last game. Now, is that because of the injury or is that because of the blowout It's tough to really know. And he is someone that had a really terrible night shooting. 2 for 8 from 3, 4 for 15 as a whole. Now, if we look at the per 36 numbers, he is someone that averages 24.1 points per 36 with KPJ off the court, Kevin Porter Jr. off the court. So in theory, this number that we're getting at 21.5 should really be a strong number, should be a number that we can attack. And it is still a great matchup there going against the Kings. And if we look at it on the season, he is someone that averages 21.5 points. So not only are the props pretty much saying he's at his average, but they are not adjusting for the game that is projected to be a very high scoring game. And the nice thing about this prop is I don't see it changing. Okay, so we can wait until we get news to see if he has any sort of minutes restriction or whatnot. I don't think so. I think it was just because of that game blowing out, but it's far from like a guarantee. But let's just say it is, like he didn't get the minutes because of that. Well, he is someone that on the season averages 32.96 minutes. Okay, so he was still able to get 12 points on a terrible night while only playing 22 minutes. If he gets 10 more minutes, who knows, could get to literally 22. He could have got 10 more points. I have him projected to get 35 minutes. So if those minutes happen, should be able to get there kind of safely as well. And then in theory, if we are betting on that game staying close and whatnot, then Sengun here should be able to get to over 31.5 as well. Looking at his numbers on average, basically right there. At the same time, it does feel very tight here. This is only something I would use in a stack. Look at the last couple of games against the Kings, right there. So this could be a situation of maybe we wait until we get the fancy score. If it's only like 33, 34, then we could potentially do that. I think with Jalen Green back, this should lead to it being a little bit closer. Now, I already kind of mentioned how this game is going to be an appealing game for the Bulls. Maybe we do some first half bets, maybe Zach LaVine over points first half. But as a whole, I think 2 out of the 3, and by that, I mean DeMar, Vooch, or Zach LaVine are going to get their over points. And the thing with it is Vooch and DeMar are currently projected to get over that, and Vooch is actually projected to really smash points and rebounds. And so you could either do points and rebounds, or you could just do points. You could do rebounds. Right now, he's projected to get 22.4 points. Okay, so that's a big edge. Now the lines are all going to say that this is a push. Okay. They're saying this is the correct number. So really, we're just trying to find bets that we can pair with that DeMar DeRozan prop, kind of just matching our way to a profitable lineup. Now we do have NHL back, so that should help with that process. So let's get into some NHL bets. So just a reminder, why we are chasing NHL bets is because typically speaking, those are going to be the bets in which we can get minus 145, sometimes minus 160 for and over. That happened twice last week, on Sunday and Monday, I believe it was, or maybe it was Saturday and Sunday. So more than we go. Anyways, we get great numbers, okay? We have a bunch today that are at minus 140. The best prop that we got today was DeMar DeRozan at minus 140 over 25.5 points. So we consistently get a lot of those in the NHL. So that's why I like to pair a good NBA prop bet with an NHL prop bet that has a good probability of hitting. So let's go ahead and just look at some. So right off the bat, we have Anders Lee at 2.5 shots on goal. The play here would be under shots on goal of 2.5. We look at DK Sportsbook. They currently have them projected at minus 140 to get the under, which is obviously, once again, favorable odds that we're getting there. Now, if we look at across all sports books, they have the over 2.5 shots on goal set at plus 115, so a little bit more favorable there as well. Now, another decent under bet that we're going to get is going to be Tony DeAngelo under 2.5 shots on goal collectively across the sports books. They're saying this has a minus 137 chance of hitting, so not as good as we would want, not that minus 140 number that we'd want, and obviously some people are going to see the last 5 games and be like, ooh, I don't want to touch that. That's going to be up for you guys to decide. Obviously, we're chasing the good numbers here. Now, one with some interesting odds that we're getting is going to be Steven Stamkos under 3.5 shots on goal. So the over collectively across the sportsbook is set at plus 124 and the under is set at minus 125. So just a very, very interesting number. And if we look at DK Sportsbook, they currently have that number set at minus 130. Now, some other ones in which like DK Sportsbook differs from what we're getting on PrizePicks is like Sam Reinhart under 3.5 shots on goal. If you look across the board on some other sportsbooks, they kind of have it different. So that's going to be for you guys to decide there what you want to do with that one. Another very similar one would be Chris over 2.5 shots on goal. It seems like there isn't that much consistency across the board. They all are favoring the over at minus 130 and the under is set at plus 120 across the board. If we pull it up on DK Sportsbook, we can see this number is minus 135 to get the over. So still pretty good odds there. And I know people that like to look at the last 5 are going to see, 3 out of the last 5 has been over. They're going to like that. So, has that going as well. So this one is a very interesting prop that we're getting for NHL bets right now. The line opened up at 3.5 shots on goal. okay, but it opened up, and this is across all the sportsbook, at minus 156 for the under, which was huge. Now it's been adjusted to minus 140 for the under on average across all the sportsbooks. The over has been adjusted to 2.5 shots on goal at minus 182. So basically what they're saying is he is going to get 3 shots on goal, which if you're looking at the game log, not pretty. You don't like that. And now just for consistency purposes, looking at DK Sportsbook, they have this number set at minus 145 as well. So just a very interesting prop that we're getting right now. Personally, I like the odds on it. I'll probably take it, but I could see why if you guys are looking at this game log, the snapshot, the last 5, and you don't want to use it, I get it. I like chasing the good odds that we're getting, so I'm probably going to use this one. So to me, the bet of the day is going to be a pretty simple one because we are just chasing the best numbers that we're getting right now. So DeRozan over 25.5 points. We saw that the sportsbooks currently have this number set at 26.5, and they're saying that's about a 50-50 split. Right now, we're getting minus 140 odds at 25.5 points, which is huge. The only worry that we have there is going to be the potential blowout risk. So if you wanted to do first half points for him, you can. I like the fact that we can potentially stack that game as well. If it's not DeMar DeRozan going off and getting those points, it would be Zach LaVine, it'd be Vooch. So we can attack it that way as well. And then Matt Boldy, we can also do under 3.5 shots on goal. There is a little bit of discrepancies between the sportsbooks there with the odds. Basically, I think the best odds that we're going to end up getting are going to be, or the worst odds that we'll get is minus 135 for his under for shots on goal. This line opened up at minus 156 in the morning. It's currently still at minus 130 or minus 140. So still a good odd number bet. Another one you could use with this would be Lee under shots on goal, who across the sportsbook currently minus 135 for the under as well. So still a pretty good bet that we're getting. But I like the first one better because we're getting better odds. All right, that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully we have a good Monday. I will say the Mondays have been, it seems like the lines are always a little bit tighter. So I was a little bit shocked at the good numbers that we're getting there right now. There is a lot of injury news that we are waiting on. This potentially, depending on how the golf goes, data-wise, how long that takes today, I could potentially put out an afternoon video. We'll see. That'd be about 3 or so. We'll see about that. But with the Spencer Dinwiddie trade, and there's a bunch of other injuries that we are waiting on, we could get some really good numbers there. So I am very curious as to see kind of how the night progresses. Odds-wise, we already saw we are getting some pretty good numbers on like Jalen Green, where they haven't really adjusted for the projected minutes that he's going to get. All right, that's all I have for you guys for this slate. Let's have a good slate, and as always, let's keep cashing.